This is Michael Woodward, and this is episode 45 of the Jumblethink podcast.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Jumblethink podcast, a podcast focused on telling the stories of dreamers, makers, innovators, and influencers. Along the way, we'll give you tips and some ideas of how you can chase your big idea or dream and make it a reality. Super excited about today's guest. His name is Stephen Petith. More about Stephen in a moment. But first, our guest for Thursday's episode is Cardiff D. Hall. He's an author, speaker, and mentor. He's written a book called Tide Turners, The Practical Guide to Help You Feel in Control, Experience More Joy, and Sustain Achievement in Your Life. It's a really fun episode. You're not going to want to miss it. Did you know the Jumblethink podcast is on your favorite app? When you subscribe to the Jumblethink podcast, you'll never miss another episode. Simply go over to your favorite app, whether it be iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, Google Play, or any number of other apps, and click that subscribe button. It's easy to do, and that way you'll never miss another Jumblethink episode. Let's jump into our conversation with Stephen Petith. Stephen, it is really cool to have you on the podcast. You're our first guy from Australia, and you truly are a world traveler. So thanks for taking time to be on the podcast.
Not a problem, Michael. Loving being here, and thank you for having me on.
So tell us a little bit about you. You have kind of a crazy background.
Yeah, so where do I start? I grew up in Australia as a kid in North Queensland. When I was 15, joined the Australian Navy. I decided, enough's enough. Time to get out and see what this great world's got to offer.
Yeah.
So spent 10 years in the Australian Navy, traveling around all over the place. Electronics technician, got to see what happens in the intelligence world. And after that, I left and come out and joined the family businesses. And we started to take the family businesses more global. Dad and his brothers were already going global with their strategies. And so I moved up here to Hong Kong and went into China, started manufacturing in a big way, and moved into the Middle East and Europe. We ended up sort of selling all over the world, and we were in a pretty boring sort of business. Our main product was door hinges.
Wow.
We had a massive door hinge business. We were selling millions upon millions a year, all over the place. So a pretty simple product, but we managed to take it global, and we sold that business off. And we also had a failure in one of the businesses back in Australia as well around the same time. And we managed to sell parts of the company and move on. And I stayed up here in Hong Kong for a little while, moved back to Australia. I've always been involved in politics.
Yeah.
So I got involved in the political sphere, worked for a couple of politicians, helped some people get elected, then decided, enough's enough. I've seen how the politics works, and now I'm back helping people all over the world. I'm an investor as my main day job now, which is basically, if you have a look at the sphere of entrepreneurs, that's what we're all trying to get to, is to be the entrepreneur investor, where we invest into other people's dreams. And so that's what I spend most of my time. I've got a little PE fund up here, and I just invest into those dreams and help people build their dreams. But my passion is making sure people get to see the world, and that's why I call myself an Internationalization Architect, because I get to design internationalization plans and internationalization businesses, and not just businesses, but lifestyles for people as well. So yeah, it's a crazy, crazy world, but I love it.
Yeah, well, we're going to jump more into the International Architect thing, because that's pretty cool stuff, and I can't wait to chat about that. You mentioned that you do investment stuff into investing into the dreams and ideas of others. Is that through the Global Private Partners company?
Yeah, that's through our firm. There's me and a partner, Murray Priestley, that we set up. We joined forces back 5 years ago and formed Global Private Partners to basically invest in other people's dreams and to help people take their businesses global.
That's so cool. Now, you mentioned that you were in the Navy. You mentioned that offline before we started, you mentioned that you're all over the place. You're just in Europe. You're in Hong Kong right now. You've got spaces throughout the country, the globe that you're working from. Where did that passion for the nations, being a global citizen, start?
Very, very young. My family are a bit of a nomads, a bit of gypsy in them. Moved around the place a lot, and that sort of become ingrained in me from an early age. And I've just always known, and it's also a bit of a trait for Australians in nature anyway, is that we're such a small place so far away from anywhere. We just want to go and see everyone else.
Yeah.
Everyone says it's too far to come down there, so we'll come and knock on your door. And so from a very, very young age, I can remember doing projects at school, when, 5, 6, 7 years, 5, 6, 7, on China and Persia and the Ottoman Empire and all these great places around that are out there. So it's been a big passion and driver for me to go and do this. One of my goals in life in targets is to visit all nations that are sanctioned by the United Nations, so all 208 states of the world.
Wow.
So I'm kicking along. I've cracked over the 100 now. So
that's incredible.
I've still got a way to go, but we're getting there.
That's so cool. Before we dive too much into other aspects of this, where's your favorite place?
That's really tough because I like so many places like Jordan in the Middle East, to Belize in Central America, to little Pacific islands. That there are so many places. Basically, what I like, and if anyone ever said to me, where would you settle? It's got to be between the two tropics. So between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. I'm not a very cold person. I like the warmth and the humidity and my coconuts and for breakfast and that sort of stuff. So if there was any one place on Earth, I'd say it's in between those two tropics.
Okay.
Close to a beach. That would be my sort of ideal. And there's so many places around that fit that description. So I'm happy. I've got lots of places to go visit.
That's so cool. Yeah, and there's a lot of spaces between those two lines on the globe.
Definitely. Yeah.
You mentioned before that you are an international architect, and some of our listeners are going to be going, "What does that mean?" Can you explain that?
Yeah. So we have architects for buildings, and we have architects for bridges and all that sort of stuff. Well, basically, I'm an architect for internationalization, or I'm an architect for seeing the globe and how you can fit into it, and how your business can fit into it. So, quick case study, working with a few Amazon sellers and looking at how they can use the entire Amazon platform, which is a global platform. It's 23 countries around the world, and how that they can basically design their entire business to be based in one location, be manufacturing in another location, be living in a third location, but selling on all 23. And so basically working all those components out is what I do. So I build a solid foundation for you. I'll help you and guide you through on a solid foundation. And then from there, we build your business up and up and up and up. And it's a long time project. Like a lot of these projects can take 5, 10 or a lifetime to complete. But once you've got the plan and the design, it's quite easy to implement and take it one step at a time.
So you help clients take their idea, their business, and remove the boundaries of geography and help them have a worldview where they can take their business outside of maybe just their country or their local sphere.
Yes. Basically, go beyond borders is one of my taglines, is look at going beyond borders. A lot of it is people just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much bad press out there for all the big multinationals, either avoiding tax, either doing this, they're doing that, that a lot of the little guys get so scared and go, well, it must be illegal. It must only be for the big guys, that it's only for those that that want to, skip out on paying their fair share. Well, it's not that at all. If you have a look at it, the world is a great big sphere.
Yeah.
And in that sphere, we have little spheres called economies. So if you take Australia, we're 1.82% of the world. You take the US, it's about 28% of the world. Take Europe, it's about the same. And then you've got Africa, Asia, and all that takes up the rest of it. So it's all about, well, if one of those little economies is going down, well, another's normally going up.
Right.
So let's use the rules that are out there, and let's use some and it's not necessarily smart thinking, it's just open thinking about how to take advantage of what's happening. If you have a look at the moment, there's the great push here in Asia, especially by China, is the Silk Road.
Right.
So the Silk Road, 62 nations, basically between China and Europe. So linking what will be the two largest economies on Earth. So there's a lot of opportunity going to show up along that whole road, and people can take advantage of it. You might be a hairdresser from Ohio that has some great new hairstyles or something, and there's people in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and all those sort of countries through there that would possibly like to hear what you've got to say, or see what you've got to say, or have a look at a product that you've got to sell them. So these are all emerging economies. So by just thinking a little bit laterally and a little bit outside of your own backyard, you can take advantage of a lot of cool things that are happening.
So I'm going to ask a question that,
Yep.
being that a lot of our listeners are in the United States, they may be asking. There is a dialogue in our country that globalization is bad.
Yep.
And it very much demonizes, like, oh, they're stealing our jobs. They're doing this. They're doing that. Look at, we have inverted imports, exports, and it's not apples to apples. It's not fair. It's not right. What do you say to that?
I take a different view on it. For a start, globalization is not taking your jobs. Computers are.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. If you want to bring jobs back to America or Australia or Europe, basically shut down Facebook. Stop using it, because it's those sort of platforms that are killing our jobs. On the other hand, if you can't get a job in, say, America, there's quite possibility that in the local backyard to America that there is other jobs available.
Yeah.
There's some great countries in Central America that need a lot of help from a lot of people. That there is a whole world out there that by just setting up your own blog or jumping on a plane and going and talking to someone in somewhere else, you might be able to start a new career. Not might, actually, you will be able to start a new career. It's getting out there and having a look. Globalization is, in its purest form, is not bad, because what it's doing is making the whole world equal. In my view, what is bad is what we've let happen, and that's corporatization.
Okay.
Which is a totally different thing from globalization. We've allowed a very small group of very large companies to take over, and us as entrepreneurs, we're the largest group of employers in the world,
right,
by far.
Right.
And the job creators and the wealth creators is all going to come from entrepreneurs. So if you want to change the world, is basically get out there and become an entrepreneur. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to work with the person sitting next to you. Competition's a great thing. Working together is the only way everyone grows and moves forward. So don't be afraid of globalization. Look how you can actually utilize it. What we've got to stop doing is blaming governments for everything. I know in most of the places, like I having worked in government, I know how bad they are.
Yeah. That
we've got to start taking a lot back ourselves. So one of the things that I've really relished in is getting out of Australia coming here to Asia, where I have no safety net, I've got no boundaries being placed on me by the Australian government, and actually chipping away and creating my own world and my own future, and utilising what's out there to my advantage, and not going, oh poor me, I can't do this. So I think we've just got to look at things a little bit differently, and just march forward.
In that, we take and look at globalization from that corporate standpoint, and you've really hit that pretty well. But one of the things that you talk a lot about is being a good global citizen. What does that look like?
I believe in I've been fortunate in my career, and what it looks like to me is helping others, and it can be from a little standpoint of just helping other people around you, working with other people to get going, and not hoarding. I'm not a big hoarder of anything, whether it be money or objects. If there is one thing I do hoard, it's experiences and opportunity. But being a good global citizen to me has been one that I don't sit on knowledge. So I've got some knowledge. I want to get it out there. I want to help people get out there. But at the same time, I still need to eat, and I still need to, contribute to the world and have my businesses going and doing what I'm doing. But I think what we've got to get out of is being closed in. And one of the things that's not helping us these days is education. Our education systems, especially in the Western world, are terrible.
Yeah.
They've become so run down and devoid of any real learning, just the basics of financial security, of what really happens when a dollar goes into a bank and all these sort of things, and how products that are made in China are actually not just ripping money and jobs, and they're not bad, and all this sort of stuff, just how that sort of stuff actually works. You can do some real good by utilizing different parts of the globe as well.
Right. Well, and you hit on one of my passion points, which is education. There needs to be a seismic shift in the structures of education. It's just, there are a lot of great-hearted people in those spheres, but the people making policy on that, they're just killing innovation. They're killing creativity. They're killing forward thinking. It really, we need to step back and come up with a healthier system.
They're killing hope. They're killing opportunity. And then by doing that, they're killing communities.
Yeah.
They're your real big killers. Is education, for me, is vital. Without a good education system, and some of my friends up here, they homeschool. So they've actually taken back the education and started teaching their kids entrepreneurship, how to look after the environment for one. And I'm not a big global a climate change person. I'm not a scientist, so I just don't understand that. But what I do know is that our choices, just going to a coffee shop and taking a plastic cup and not taking our own cup and little things like that, those little choices that we can do can better our entire environment around us, which then changes thought perceptions for other people that see what we're doing and how we are working and interacting. And that doesn't just go for people in America, but it goes for when we travel as well. Different people see us doing different things. And as Westerners, especially when we're traveling through Asia and Central Eastern Europe, a lot of people there look to us Westerners as being, well, you guys have got more. You're better educated. You're better everything. So to help show us the way. And sometimes I think we're killing ourselves and we're killing our own opportunity because we're just not we're just not open and experienced and educated enough to take the full grasp of what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's great. A great point that you're making there. So we've talked about the beauty of being able to take a small business and have a global reach. But you mentioned the importance of giving back. And a lot of people go, oh, if you're, so like, let's say I have an idea. I'm a small business guy. I'm a one-man shop and I want to create a product, but I can't afford to do all the machining and setup and configuration of an office, hire people. So I take the choice to go have it manufactured somewhere else. There is a view that says, oh, you're ripping off those people in Asia or Indonesia or Africa or South America, wherever those jobs are going, that you're sending that product to being manufactured. Is that true? Are we truly like just here we're going to give you pennies on the dollar, or is there a different reality really going on?
There's a different reality going on. Us in the West have taken 250 years to get to our current level of lifestyle, to be able to afford the minimum wages and everything that we're on. You got to remember places like China, Indonesia, India, Taiwan, Japan, who are, we see them as fairly modern countries, but some of those are, especially Taiwan and Japan, are still semi-developed. They're not fully developed. They've got great manufacturing systems and that, but they're still a little bit behind where we are. So if I come to China, say, and the guy's earning $1 a day in a factory, gaining skills that he wouldn't otherwise gain, and getting the nutrition he needs to live and then go on and feed his family, has a ratcheting effect over time. Because if that factory wasn't there, he'd be living on a farm, he'd be trying to do subsistence living and failing, because most of them were and still are. The farmers out there in rural communist countries are failing miserably.
Yeah.
So by me taking my product to China, getting it manufactured there, that guy has an opportunity to gain skills. He gets say he gets $1 a day. Within 6 or 12 months' time, because of the way things move in China or in any of the developing world, it doesn't stay still. We see it out here all the time. Where it took us 200 years to get somewhere, it's going to take China 60 years.
Wow.
It basically everything's moving at such a fast pace over here in Asia, but not just here in Asia. It's in India, it's in South America, it's in Africa, and they're all at different stages in this economic cycle. That the ratcheting effect of that guy earning $1 a day today, in 6 months' time, he's probably going to be earning $2 a day because he's now leading a team of people. In 2 years' time, he could be well and truly running the factory.
Yeah.
And then he leaves that factory and goes and starts his own factory. And then he goes on and builds 2 or 3 other factories over his entire career. His kids are educated. They're going overseas. They're bringing back more knowledge. The whole society is ratcheting up. Then all of a sudden China starts to get a bit more expensive. So then they move some of their production to a lesser place, say Laos, here in Asia. And then the same thing happens there, but it happens at a quicker rate. So we may think we're losing out in the West because the manufacturing is not going to us locally, but eventually once all the world catches up, well, not everyone's going to be manufacturing for everyone because local consumption will start to improve. One of the things that's happening here in China, and one of the statistics I like, is there's 60 million middle-class people roughly in China at the moment.
Yeah.
So these are people that have got a disposable income.
Yeah.
By 2030, that'll be 600 million people.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. 10 times in 15 years.
Yeah.
So that alone means that they can't produce enough to sustain their own economy. And they're going to be wanting better goods and they're going to be wanting better services. So us in the Western world have to work out, what are we going to supply them? Is it going to be our services? Is it going to be a better made product? Because it's already happening here now. Like in some of the cities here in southern China, the factories are closing because they're becoming online entrepreneurs and developing tech. So the factories are closing and they're moving to a different country.
That's crazy.
It is. And so the whole world is in a massive flux and a massive change. But in that change comes opportunity.
Yeah.
So we in the West, especially us in the West, have to work out what we want to offer these people, because they all want Western products. Every time I'm up in China, I'm seeing friends up there. They're all saying to me, "Oh, next time, can you bring me up this, and this, and this?"
Yeah.
And it's all Western products. It's all products that they can't get in China, or they don't manufacture in China, or if they do, they don't trust it.
Yeah.
So So to get back to your question, is globalization bad? No, I think it's a great leveler. If anything, some of the stuff that we've done in history has limited the growth of the third world, or the developing world, as it's now called. And we probably could have been a lot quicker through this cycle of global development than what we are now. We've got to change, and it goes back to our point of what we're saying about education. Is our education systems are still stuck in the 1950s, 1960s.
Yeah. They're
not stuck in the 2000s. And the education systems that are in the 2000s are in the developing world.
Which is crazy, because that you would think that Western civilization would be more forward thinking than that.
You would, but it's not.
Yeah.
And the more I travel around this planet, the more I find out what's going on, and the more I see, I'm just going, wow, we are really doing ourselves a disservice in the West. We are looking inward rather than looking outward.
It almost sounds like there's a fear there. And the fear is, if they succeed, that means that we'll be less.
Oh, exactly. There's a huge fear there. And the problem is the media feed on it.
Yeah.
The media feed on that they're taking your jobs, just like what you were saying before. They're taking your jobs. They're going to, take away your future, this, that, and the other. If you turn that off and then start listening and visiting, the best thing to do is jump on a plane. Plane tickets are cheap these days.
Yeah.
Jump on a plane and come and see what's happening over here. Come and experience it. And not just here. Actually go down into South America and see what's happening in Chile, in Santiago, the massive startup hubs that are popping up all around the regions down there, Colombia, Costa Rica. All these little places are popping up with some of the best startup hubs and tech. Here in Asia, we've got Bali, which is the last place you'd think it'd be a Silicon Valley type place. But it's beautiful beaches, coconuts, and co-working spaces with great internet. So it's the world is changing, I think, at a faster rate than most of us are actually prepared for. And I surprise myself. And I take myself as a fairly big world traveler. And I think at least once a month I'm amazed when I'm at somewhere at what's actually really happening and what I'm seeing.
That's crazy. You mentioned airfares being cheaper. What's crazy to me is our family, my wife and I, our family is spread throughout the country. And it is sometimes we joke because we're like, oh, we should go visit, grandma and grandpa or something like that, her parents. And we're like, it's actually cheaper to go to like St. Bart's or go to London or go to Asia, even from the East Coast. It's just crazy how international travel is actually cheaper than domestic travel in the States. So it is an amazing time to go travel and visit places that you once thought maybe one day I want to go there. It's like the perfect time to do that.
Oh, it is. And it's amazing. And I was just in Europe and I was down in Malta and visiting the office down there and some other people that, hadn't seen for quite a while. And a friend of mine in Barcelona phoned up and said, look, there's a great guy here. He's going to be here for 2 days. I'd love you to meet him. And I said, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, look, I'll jump on. There's a flight into Madrid tonight. I'll catch the train down the next morning. We'll have lunch, talk about it, and then I'll catch the flight back that afternoon. So between 2 flights, a train, and a hotel room, I think I spent like €500.
Right.
And I met this guy, and he was an absolutely – it was one of the best experiences I had. He was such a visionary thinker, and he's just got some great technology and stuff that's going to happen. He's going to make it happen, and absolutely awesome. But for €500, which is really at the end of the day not a lot.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, and I said it probably could have been cheaper if I was actually on the mainland, not in Malta.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you are a part of something called the sovereign capitalist movement. Now, to us American people, sovereign, we think of, Queen of England kind of thing. What is the sovereign capitalist movement, and why is it significant?
Okay, so the sovereign capitalist movement is a group, is an organization that me and a few guys have got together and we've put together. So what it is it's two things. It's personal and individual sovereignty and capitalism. Basically, individual sovereignty means that you are not tied to any one nation or any one state, and you're not bound by specific rules. You create a freedom of choice to be able to live your life on your terms, how you want. So it's a bit like the sovereign citizens movement and that around, but we're just doing it through means of we all have multiple passports, we all have multiple residencies. We take advantage of global arbitrage is probably the best way of saying it. So we play one nation set of rules off against another, so we can then do what we want and achieve our outcomes, whether it's charitable, whether it's business, whether it's lifestyle, all those range. The second part of it, the capitalism part, is we're all helping each other, and that's one of the reasons we started the fund as well, was we're all helping each other grow our businesses because we all believe in working together to grow businesses. That one man's an island, and an island, gets pretty boring after a while.
Yeah, for sure.
So we hold mastermind groups, we work together, we bring in some international talented people to help us sort of expand our AI knowledge. One of the things I hate being is the smartest guy in the room, because it means I'm in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So we quite do that. We do that, and it's working in collaboration with others that I find I grow the best. So the whole sovereign capitalist movement come around for that.
It's really, really cool. Where can people find out about that?
At the moment, we're just bringing it to the world. So if everyone looks at sovereigncapitalist.com, it'll take on a life of its own over the next probably 6 months, and then early next year it'll go into a full launch. At the moment, there's 5 or 6 of us that are living it, dreaming it, working it in the background, and we're just getting all our act together to bring it to everyone else. So we can mentor, work with, expand our network, and go from there.
You mentioned that, capitalism from your standpoint in that phrase, one of the key elements is collaboration, relationship.
Yep.
I think that the more I talk to people that are in the spaces of innovation in their sphere of world, whether that's technology, whether that's healthcare, whether that's in business startup, whatever that looks like, that seems to be a common thread, that innovation, forward movement really happens from collaboration. You can't just do it as your own little island of your own little business, but you got to be working with these relationships of other businesses with other individuals. Can you share a little bit about your experience with that?
Oh, for sure. I'm a big believer in face-to-face communications, face-to-face meetings. So one of the reasons I travel a lot is I actually like to sit in a room, excuse me, talk to people, because you find out a lot more by having sideways conversations around stuff than what you do if you're just talking over Skype or texting each other. You can't get the context and the emotion. And it's in the context and the emotion that we grow more understanding, and we then start asking better questions. So you have a look at someone's body language and you just know that they've got something, they want to bring something out, but you just got to ask the right question. So I love having these face-to-faces and doing that. Plus, one of the best things, and here's a bit of a story, is one of the best business deals that I've ever been involved in was actually with one of my major competitors.
Okay.
So there was around the time of the Kobe stainless steel, the Kobe earthquake, there was a big shortage of stainless steel entering China, and we needed it for some of our orders. And our major competitor, which was literally 2 blocks away, was sitting on huge amounts of excess stainless steel. They'd been buying it for whatever reasons. And it was because we had a bit of a relationship with these guys and we knew who they were, how they operated. We were fiercely competitive in the market. But because we had a relationship with them, we were able to go and sit down with them and say, hey, can we buy some stainless steel off you? And by collaborating with that group, and they said, yep, you can buy stainless steel off us, but when the world market gets and you can go and buy it elsewhere, well, how about you replace it and we'll cut a deal and so on.
Yeah.
So it's that collaboration, not just between friends, but between foes, is where you can get some really, really good outcomes. So our factory was able to keep producing. They got rid of some stock and turned it into some short-term cash. We replenished their stock and got some cash back ourselves because we were able to put in a bigger order when we went to replenish their stock as well as stock up on our own. So we got a cheaper price.
Right.
So it became a bit of a win-win for everyone. And it's this collaboration in industries, and we're terrible at it in the West. We think that working with our competitor somehow is going to weaken us.
Yeah.
And we've got to start realizing that the pie can be grown so everyone can benefit. And just another case study on this is that in China, they have these big collaboration centers, and they're all over the place.
Okay.
So especially in the online world, it's amazing. The online world here in China is, if you're an online seller, it's probably going to take you 9 to 12 weeks to get a product to market. By the time you fly over here, you find one, you find a manufacturer, you get it going, then you go out and find designers and you find all the other everything you need. Say it takes you 12 weeks, and that's probably being generous. Well, in China, because they're all sitting in the same room, they're all talking to each other, they launch products in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So this is that speed that I was talking about earlier, is that they will literally beat you to market every day of the week.
That's crazy.
So we've got to get smarter, and if we were working with those people, and our firm here is, we're working with the Chinese factories.
Yeah.
We're working with Middle Eastern distributors and stuff as well, because they just work at such a fast rate, and the speed, and it's all through collaboration. It's all because there's 10 sellers selling the same product in the same room at the same time, that they can speed everything up beyond what we're even capable of doing.
That's crazy.
And that's why looking global, looking outside of your backyard, is you can find good collaborations with people where you too can expedite stuff to market.
It's crazy. It's really cool.
Yeah. So that's what I see of collaboration, and I look at it as a win-win.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as a zero. It's got to be a win-win, or otherwise there's just no point doing it.
Well, and I think that one of the things that's kind of interesting that I'm taking away from what you're saying is that often we try to do what's in our best interest, and by hoarding or having this mentality of like, I got to keep what's mine, that selfish worldview, we don't see the possibilities of, by opening up through collaboration, through partnerships, through looking outside of our sphere, that really the selfish mentality could actually be hurting us and stunting our growth, stunting our reach, stunting our possibilities.
Oh, for sure. For sure. The lack mentality that has been driven into us by mainstream media, by politicians, by everything that's going on in the world, and my view is that it's been designed on purpose to a bit, is stunting what can be. And us as entrepreneurs, especially those of us in small businesses where mum and dad and two staff, those type of small businesses, we need to get out beyond where we are and go and form joint ventures and partnerships with people in the developing world, or even in other developed countries. Like a manufacturer in the US team up with someone and distribute product in Germany. Someone in Asia team up with someone in the US to sell products from Asia into the US. The number one thing that you can do is, someone in Asia who has Chinglish, as we like to say,
yeah,
pairs up with a fluent English speaker, they will double their sales overnight, but you'll benefit as well.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden your market's grown, you're the front end of their business, you're partnering together, and away you go. One of the best things that we can do as entrepreneurs is we find people that are complementary to us and partner with them.
Yeah.
And even if it's 4 sellers all selling pretty much the same product, get together, have slightly different brands, but put in bulk orders.
Yeah.
And then, work as co-ops. The old world is, if you go right back to the late 1800s, the early 1900s, sort of pre-World War One, where the co-op farmer, the co-op communities, they all work together. And then a co-op here and a co-op here, they work together. We've lost that thing, that part of entrepreneurship, because we've let it go to the corporates. We've let the corporatization of the world take over. And it's now our time as entrepreneurs, and especially smaller entrepreneurs, to get together and collaborate and march forward.
Well, and you saw it in co-ops, but you also saw it in the trades with guildsmen and guild shops with manufacturers, blacksmiths, other things, other industries like that, where it was about, you get an apprentice, they're working with you. You might have a shop where there's 10 different guilds going on, but you're working and you're building up the next generation who may start a business that competes against you, but in that season, they're also learning from you. So there's this win-win of they're gaining value to give value in the future.
Yeah, and I see that as the next evolution of the co-working space. So at the moment, we've got co-working spaces, which are places where people can go and hang out. And what I find is with these people is people still tend to be solitary, unless it's time to grab a drink or sit down and watch an external lecture.
Yeah.
So the next evolution of the co-working space is basically a collaborative space.
Yeah.
So everyone will really come together as a united force. And in some of these co-working spaces, you just sit there and look, there's a great programmer, great graphic artist, there's content writers, industrial designers, everything you need for a great business. But they're all still working individually. They're not looking internally enough to connect and then go externally as a bigger force. So we're living in good times, and people start to wake up shortly.
Yeah, we actually had a guest, Steve Trindad, on, one of our early guests, and he has a place called Urban Workshop in Southern California where it is a active workshop where one of his key roles is networking people together and saying, oh, you have that idea. Why don't you go talk to Joe? He can help you in processing that part that you don't know. It's really a cool space. And they're kind of evolving that co-working space to that next level, exactly like what you're saying. So it's really cool to see that other people are seeing these needs and really evolving exactly what you're saying.
And exactly. And it's not just a co-working space in, say, Southern California and a co-working space in Chiang Mai. It'll be those two spaces working together as well. That's
really cool. And the technology facilitates those kind of things so well.
Oh, it does. And as we said before, flights are cheap. And, it wouldn't be hard for, 10 people from the Silicon Valley or the Southern California place to fly over to the Chiang Mai co-working space, spend 2 weeks there building relationships, building strong bonds, and then the vice versa happens.
Yeah.
And over time, these co-ops and collections of people and collections of ideas and knowledge will just grow and grow and grow. And then that's how we take back the jobs going away and all that sort of stuff, because we start building them and start using them and start educating and retraining people to be able to do different things.
Yeah.
One of the things that I can see happening is localized personalization.
Okay.
So personalization of things, we all like stuff that's special.
Yeah.
We all like stuff that's a little bit, I'm the only one with it. So these are the type of things that are going to happen in the future, is where we'll be able to, a local artist will get together with a local manufacturer to do small batched personalized products.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. And I think that'll be really, really good. We're starting to see a little trend of it in certain areas, but it'll get mainstream. It'll become bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on. But we're in a re-education zone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I have one more question before we get into my rapid fire questions, and that's you've worked in the government space, you've worked in the business space, you've worked in the investment sphere. What does a healthy relationship between government, especially the innovative nature of small business, what should it look like, and what needs to shift there for it to become healthy again?
Government needs to stop being the one-stop, we're going to fix everything. Government's got to allow us to fail, basically, and be okay with that. And allow people to fail in a way that is constructive and educational, but not stigmatized.
Yeah.
Because you learn more by failing and trying than you do by ever not doing anything. So government itself needs to get out of the way in that aspect. It needs to go back to being a sort of a safety net, not a security blanket.
Yeah.
And that will really help the entrepreneur and teach entrepreneurship in schools from day one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Let kids be kids. Let kids go out. If they want to play music and instruments, let them go and do it. If they want to build sandcastles, let them go do it. They'll be our next engineers and builders and that sort of stuff. And let people develop. We're not letting people develop.
And stop trying to make everyone so well-rounded. Let them be who they are and how they're bent.
Exactly. And this is probably going to sound really bad, but there is a class system in nature.
Yeah.
and as humans, we're trying to get away from that class system. And I'm not talking about class as in money. I'm talking about class as in one group of people will do this and one group of people will do that. And they're going to be at different places and different worlds around. Some people are good at helping other people. And some people are good at an idea and generation and bringing other people together. So we need to work that out again and get back to that. There's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what you're saying. So let's jump into some rapid fire questions. These are specifically geared towards helping our listeners with some things that they can apply to their life.
Yep.
What
Cool.
are some tips or suggestions you would give someone who has an idea or a dream and doesn't know where to start?
Doesn't know where to start. Okay. Jump on a plane, go somewhere new, and just look.
Okay. What would they get from doing that?
Okay. So by doing that, you're just seeing what's out there. So if you really don't know, say you've got a product that you want to really get off the ground, go somewhere that's not where you are normally and get a second view on it.
Okay.
The other thing is find someone who can shed some light on something that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's good. You work with investing into other businesses. That's part of what you do. What is one way a small business can bring more value to what they're doing and really increase their impact?
Find a complementary partner that's not going to cannibalize your current market and work with them.
Okay.
Increase your value through leverage.
That's good. I like that. You are all over the place. You travel a bunch. You're working in different spaces in civilization. What's one change that you would like to see happen in the world?
Us stop becoming a throwaway society.
What do you mean by that?
Everything now is disposable, whether it's the cars we drive, the houses we live in, the cups we get from the coffee shop, the clothes we wear. Let us start putting quality back into our lives.
Yeah. And there was a time where quality was a significant factor in the products that were made and bought.
Oh, hugely. People took a lot of pride in manufacturing a high quality product. People don't take pride in manufacturing a low quality, cheap product.
Let's say somebody is listening and they're wondering, they're going, I feel like I'm failing. I'm feeling like my voice isn't being heard. I have this business. I have some success, but I'm just not seeing that next level of breakthrough. What's a step they could take?
Get a good mentor.
How can they find a good mentor?
That's a very good question. Find the guilds that we're talking about. A lot of people don't ask anymore. Think of the number one person in your field that's close to you and ask them. If they say no, ask them, who would you recommend?
Yeah, I think there's kind of like this fear of or thought that, oh, mentors reach out to people that they want to mentor now. There seems to be that shift where instead of it's like, no, you got to pursue who you want to mentor you.
Exactly. And what I found traveling around, a lot of retired business people with the grey hair all want to tell you what they know.
Yeah.
Take someone to dinner, take someone to lunch, and just ask them a bunch of questions. You'll be, and I'm dumbfounded whenever I've done it because I get shocking at it. You know, I don't ask all the time. But when you do ask, you get some great results.
Wow. That's really good. What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, that's easy. I want to leave a foundation that has basically found a use for the 70 to 80% of what we don't know in the ocean.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Who or what inspires you?
There's two people that inspire me in the business world, and one of them is Richard Branson. The other one's Warren Buffett, two totally different people. The other thing that inspires me is a very good conversation.
Okay. That's cool. I love that. Have you ever met Richard Branson or Warren Buffett?
I've met Warren Buffett. I'm yet to meet Richard Branson, but it's on my list and I will do it.
Yeah. He's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
He inspires me too. I understand that one for sure.
Yeah.
What are you reading or watching?
Okay, I'm reading two books at the moment. One of them's Expert Secrets.
Okay.
From Russell Brunson, because I always want to learn. And the other one is about hedge funds, the history of hedge funds, More Money Than God.
Okay.
And I'm watching the Black Sails series on TV. That's my go and chill out for an hour.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that one.
So it's basically Pirates of the Caribbean in a TV series.
Oh, that's cool. What's it called again?
Black Sails.
I'll have to check that out.
I think it's a HBO series. Yeah.
Cool. It sounds like a lot of fun. Before I ask my last question, there are going to be some people here maybe that are entrepreneurs, maybe that are dreamers, and they want to connect with you, whether that's just to follow what you're doing or whether that's to reach out and just say, hey, I'm processing this idea. Maybe you can help me take it to the next level. How can they find you?
Okay. My personal website is stephenpetith.com. And on there, you'll find my Facebook, my LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, my About Me page, and a contact box where they can just send me a question.
Cool deal. We'll have that link along with the links to your social channels from the website on the episode notes, so it's real easy to get to too.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm happy to take questions from people.
That's really cool. My favorite question to ask every person that I can who will answer it is this. What's one dream you are still wanting to fulfill in your own life?
One is visiting every nation on earth. The other one is seeing my foundation flourish.
That's really cool.
And that's a dream I actually hope I never achieve, because it means that if I do, it's finished.
Yeah, you just want to see it continue to grow and evolve and have more reach. That's awesome. Stephen, it has been enlightening to have you on. I love your worldview and your perspective. It's not one that we hear often. Thanks for taking time to share your story with our listeners.
Not a problem. I'm glad to be on, and happy to come back and have a chat anytime.
We'll have to do that real soon for sure.
Excellent. Thanks.
Once again, I want to thank my guest today, Stephen Petith, for being on. Truly an honor to have him on and learn about so much stuff that really impacts even small businesses and the opportunities they have. On Thursday, we have another amazing guest. His name's Cardiff D. Hall. He's an author, speaker, and mentor. He's written a book called Tide Turners, The Practical Guide to Help You Feel in Control, Experience More Joy, and Sustain Achievement in Life. It's a really cool episode. We talk about a bunch of amazing things, especially around the world of children and entrepreneurship. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you check out that episode this Thursday. We want to make sure that you catch every episode of the Jumblethink podcast, and it's really easy to do. If you go over to jumblethink.com, you'll find links to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, even Google Play, where you can subscribe to the podcast, play it through your favorite device, and never, ever miss another episode of Jumblethink's podcast. Real simple to do. You'll be thankful you did. So go on over, subscribe, and catch every episode of the Jumblethink podcast. Once again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to tune into the Jumblethink podcast and hear our incredible guests. We wouldn't do this without you, and I hope it's encouraged you on your journey to chase your dream, your big idea, and create the world you want to live in.
Et les jambes légèrement espacées. Étirez-vous doucement, mais mais complètement. En avant, en arrière, sur les côtés. Vous êtes une autre personne. Les mères de famille, les enfants, peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant. Dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.